Namaste and welcome to part 3 of Kundalini Awakening. In this video, I want to talk about new age spirituality, which is blowing my mind, and not in a good way, and spine. How important and how interconnected these two are. Your spine. So, starting with the spine, when you're having Kundalini Awakening, this is where it's flowing. This is where all the action is in the spine. So I would highly suggest you to be very careful who is working on your spine. It's like you're giving yourself to someone who doesn't have experience. If you really want to someone to work on your spine, I would advise you to go to a person whose Kundalini is awakened and he or she has at least 10 years of experience if you really want to work on your spine. Because this is a very, very important subject. If someone messes that energy in your spine up, it is extremely hard to balance it again. There are so many people in India where their energy is stuck in a certain chakra and it's not going up or down. It is not an easy concept. It's just like, you can't give. It's like spine is giving your entire self to someone else's hands who doesn't know shit about what they're really doing. Their life is dependent on them because they need to earn some money. That's the people I want to stay away from. The people who hold this knowledge about their own life, but they're doing out of their own sheer joy, they'll radiate that. Only to them, I would suggest you to go, because there is no need for that unless you have a deep blockages in your body. But I can suggest like 2 more things which can help you, but not going to a person, whoever is available close to you, and you just go down there and they do their thing on your body, or Reiki, or whatever they say, right? So number 1 thing which can help you in a very deeper way is yoga, especially yoga related to spinal postures. And when you are into this, when you're not yoga, probably in US it's kind of hard to find an authentic yoga center, because mostly yoga is about postures, about that. Yoga means union of your mind, body and spirit, when you can feel it in one single posture. When you understand that, if you stay in the posture, you can stay in that posture for the entire day. It'll be so comfortable. That's the union. There are some places in India, not all the places, but there are some places in India like Isha Foundation and Iyengar Yoga, where they'll show you how your body is imbalanced, how much you know about balance of your body, and how much you don't know about your balance in your body is like uncomparable. It's extremely different. So if you learn yoga, at least learn yoga postures from anyone who's teaching yoga in a yoga place or yoga school or yoga center you have near you. But try to do the spinal postures or which stretches your spine, so that it will clear all the blockages. Yoga itself will clear all the blockages if you do it right, and take your time on each posture, and like let go of each and every muscle which is tighter. You will have that awareness. But I would start with meditation first. Learn basic meditation from Inner Engineering, as which ishafoundation.org put down, which is explained by Sadhguru. You can go through that, or any meditation you are drawn to. So start doing that for a couple of months. What it'll do is it'll make your awareness rise above the level you are in right now. That is very needed for even for doing yoga postures, because you'll get into your body very deeply. and you'll understand where your knots are. You'll understand where your ties are in your back, or wherever, whichever posture you're working on, whichever the position you are in. You will get into that nerves and that muscles of that part of the body in depth, and you can see that. So there is no one else who can heal you better than you can heal yourself, because even though a great healer is working on your body, still you are healing that part yourself using that person's energy, but you are the one you're healing it. There is no one else who can heal your body than yourselves. You are the maker of your entire personality, which is, we don't have access to that yet. That's all. Yoga and meditation will take you there. So why I'm imposing on spine is because Kundalini itself is, entire system is in the spine. The whole thing is in the spine. So there are, even with meditation, when we enter something called Shushumna. Shushumna is balancing your left and right hemispheres, your left and right nostrils, your left and right body, your masculine and feminine. When it balanced, there is a third channel where you can breathe, you can feel. That's in the spine, in the center of the spine. That's called Shushumna channel. So when we do these exercises of spine, and when you do this yoga of postures of spine and stretch your body, stretching is really helpful. It's amazingly helpful, because stretching will release all the tightness. It might take months for us to find where our spots are, where our tightness is. For me, it's in my lower back. When I create my fear, I know where it creates. I know where in my body my fear creates, and how it spreads in my body. I know the exact spot in my body. It happens right here, and it spills all over. So I know how it starts when I make a fear in my mind, and how it spreads in my body. I can observe it every time I create a fear. So this attention will rise when you do meditation. That will help you get into your body closely, where you need it to work. So this will happen. And stretching will generally let your energy flow better than what it is right now. So it's, I would advise you to start from stretching first. Stretching, if you're a busy person, if you don't have time, or if you don't have much understanding of this Kundalini and all that, at least start stretching the parts where you need that there is tightness. So because when you're abused as a kid, or when you're abused as a person, we will tend to have that abuse stored in a weaker part of the body. If you're abused as a kid, there would be definitely a weaker part in your body. My entire left side is weaker. When my parents used to hit me, I kind of fold my ankle with fear. That is still there even now. I'm working on it to let it go. So it's like my whole system, I have to work. It might take me 5 years to completely balance myself. My left and right equally balanced. Even though it is balanced, the muscle weight is not same. My right is more heavy than my left. It might not be visible, but I know it is. I can feel it entirely. So it might not be visible to people, but I know myself. Like you'll know where you're like someone have a big left bicep and not the right bicep. It's kind of like that. This awareness will grow when you get into yoga and meditation. So once you get into yoga and meditation, you would not need someone, a body worker on you to work, where they say that they can do something and pull your energy out, balance your energy, this and that and all this stuff. You would not need it. You would never need it. You are the biggest healer inside you. You have that inside you. All you need is to open the door. Once you open it, you'll see all the new age bullshit very clearly. Whatever that is. I'm not trying to there are people who are dependent and living on that subject. They're making their living out of it. So, but I don't want to put a negative aspect towards it, but I'll speak what it is. I have to, because I really don't care. I really don't care about, because these are Kundalini awakening is not a joke. Not a joke where when we say we can help people, you have to fucking mean it, and you have to know what you're doing. So because you can really feel the person's energy when your Kundalini is rising inside you, when you understand that okay, the change is happening when you're there, then when you feel the person, when you go to a person who you want to work with, who you choose to work with your body, you'll know that person. You'll know the person the moment you walk in and look into their eyes. It'll happen. So I would advise not to go to people who are like, saying that they can do some body work for you, and they can change that in your spine and then do that in this. Just don't do it. Stretching and yoga will help you way better. It's way better. And because if they do it some kind of thing which is, I'll tell you something about this. The person who has their Kundalini awakened and constantly on the path of spirituality, working on it since 15 years or 20 years, you can work with that person, because they understand where it is going from, where the Kundalini is rising from. Each change, they observe it. They have no job to do. That's the only job they do. And in a very spiritual way, and with a proper guru or a proper teacher who has high experience in this, and experience certain levels of samadhis. When those people work on your Kundalini, that's a whole different thing, because the moment they see you, they'll know where your blockages are. It's that easy for them. But it is very hard to find those kind of people. It's extremely rare to kind of find those kind of people. A lot of people will say they have it. No. Because the way they live, the way they talk, the way they're experiencing, the way they're doing things is not for money or not for living. They don't care about it. They don't care about how they're going to live. It's not in their mind how they're going to live. It'll never be there. Because once they touch their inner dimension, their own soul, they tasted it, and they were in that for 15 years, will never worry about how they're going to live. What they're wearing, what they're doing, it's going to fall. Those are all petty things once you get into your own soul. So those kind of people working on you or helping you, it's amazing. You are really a lucky person. But other than that, try to go to a yoga class and stretch yourself, and go to a massage. It's really better. Like you're doing yoga, and like deep tissue massage or massages where they can pull they can stretch too. Like if there are two people who can do that to you, like lower back or upper back or legs, and they can pull the leg and they can do that stretching part, which we cannot do ourselves. We can only stretch, but we cannot pull our legs and hands like that, right? We can do that pulling, but not like people doing that on both sides. It'll relieve all the joints, and it'll give space in the joints and get the blood flowing. The energy will flow proper. So this will happen. Once you do this, you don't need someone else to work on you. Don't believe in all those things, because it'll only confuse you. And coming to new age stuff and the cord cutting and whatever the terms are, they invented these new terms, and it's kind of, with Kundalini awakening, that will not work. Plain and simple, that will not work. Trust me, I did this. It's the most bullshit thing I ever did in my life, even though my personality is saying that, what is this bullshit thing you're doing, Murali? Like, what are you doing this thing? Like, what is this? Like, why are you getting into these things? It's like, even though I had that moments in my life, but I still let it go out of like, okay, someone is helping me, let them do that. But it's me compressing my intelligence and my intuition, which I shouldn't have done that, but it's a good thing that it happened, because I woke up with that. The cord cutting. Okay, let me explain this thing. When your Kundalini is rising, compared to Kundalini, for the people who are having their Kundalini awakened or in the process of awakening, right? Code cutting is when you're that logic of code cutting, it might be valid, even though it's not true. It might be valid when you are in your old self. When Kundalini is awakening, your old self is dying day by day. It's dead or dying. Your entire body is changing completely to a new person. It's like your each and every cell is changing in your body. When there is no old self, where is the cords? You imagine the cord and you imagine that you're cutting the cord. Just don't imagine that you have a cord, first of all. Just like, you don't need to. because because when your clarity and when your intelligence rises, there is no cords. There cannot be any cord, simply. So when you do things like vipassana, when you go to people and say cord cutting, it's classic. It is classic. Seriously, it's like oh my god, how can I like explain this to this person now? Like, I don't want to the person where we're breaking open and like poking their bubble, like. So there are so many new age terms, like they say sacred feminine and sacred masculine. When was feminine not sacred? When was masculine not? They put all these terms, they put all the words in front of whatever they do. This is sacred yoga, sacred meditation, sacred space, sacred that, sacred. They use these words for that, to build kind of like a fake um, impression that whatever they're doing is sacred, and no. But all the things we were in, it's all sacred. Entire creation is sacred. There's no place where there is no sacredness in it. There is no place. When you're available to grace, when your Kundalini is awakening, and when you're patiently like working with it, the moment you are in the space, when the Kundalini takes you to that openness, when you're communicating with trees, or when you're communicating with animals, or feeling them, not even communicating, just feeling them, just feeling that energy, that feeling that space for the first time, and you feel that divinity and that clarity in that, because it is so clean. That energy is amazingly clean. And when you're available to that, when you're in the grace every day, every moment, when you're humble enough to be in that grace, you'll not find any new age spirituality things interesting, because that's just words. They're just words to impress. Your experience matters, not your imagination of what the words they are saying, because words can be improved according to the imagination, but the experience and the grace you are in, it will never improve, never decrease, or never increase. It is the space of the entire creation. So these are the things where people fall into, because it sounds good. The people who are putting it out and talking about it, it sounds really well, like, well constructed, and like emotionally attached, and the examples they give you and all that. But new age spirituality is is like someone get a thought in their mind, and they're making it like a religion, or like saying about it, or making it like a statement, and they put it on Facebook as an articles, and articles about articles, opinions about opinions circulating in the Facebook, and in those articles around the whole internet. It will just spin and spin, but that'll only confuse you. If you reach your inner wisdom, there is something within you which is the source of creation. That inner dimension, that inner intelligence, try to go there. Try to reach that spot by meditation or by yoga, and doing these things. And if you want to find, to soak some wisdom, go to people who are enlightened. Go to the masters who are enlightened. Read their work. or watch their videos, or there are very few, countable like 10, like Osho, Rumi, Sadhguru, Eckhart Tolle. There are very few of them, like I Ching, right? Like Lao Tzu, Chang Tzu, um, people like these enlightened masters, not religious gods, enlightened masters. They are the only people who will lead you to yourself. Like Buddha and his work. If you try to like get the wisdom from them, from their work, because wisdom is changing all the time. Wisdom is not, they call it ancient wisdom, but wisdom doesn't work like that. Wisdom has to be changed according to the cycle of the life and the time. And there were deeper universal truths that'll stay. That'll always stay like that. They'll never go. Those are the foundations. But the wisdom needs to be changed according to the cycle of life we were in. And there's in Hinduism, this time is divided into, the cycles are divided into 4 yugas. It's called Kali Yuga, coming to the worst of the time. Dwapar Yuga, which we are in right now, this cycle. And then Treta Yuga, then Satya Yuga. Satya Yuga is the age of truth, which people will live like gods at the time, which will come after next probably 3 to 5,000 years from now, will lead into those cycles of time. So these cycles are connected to that. So if we take the wisdom from the cycle 10,000 years ago's wisdom, when Krishna was there, like 10,000 years ago when he lived, and that wisdom will not apply now. Only the foundation wisdom and the universal truth will apply. All the wisdom they have will not apply now to the it will not even sound good. The things they did at the time with each other in that era, we cannot judge them. But the thing is, at that time, that was the wisdom. Wisdom will change. So when you have this access to yourself, you will never have the need to read a book of New Age spirituality. New Age spirituality is just like taking something, concept, and adding few words into this thing and few emotions into it, where you can attach your emotions to that what you're reading and confuse your mind again and again. The more you read, the more you confuse. The universal truths or the principles, one of the principles is dropping all your knowledge. When you're seeking something intense, which to go into yourselves, when you're touching that boundary, you are going away from body and mind. You're entering a space where it's beyond your body and mind. That's the wisdom which you have within yourself. When you do yoga and meditation and your Kundalini is like arising, when you're awakening in this process, it'll change your DNA strands completely to get you to that zone and access. It'll happen slowly. It might happen in like 1 year to 10 years worth of time. Slowly, your whole body will change. You would not need this new stuff when you read, and the things they do, the techniques they do. If you follow Kundalini, then you have to follow yogic system, which is extremely detailed. They wrote everything in very good detailed process and how they can help you. Because these are interrelated, these are tied together. So this is my advice, and because I was trying to get into because some of my friends or the people I know were into that stuff, or how can I say, they were talking about it, and I got interested a little bit to look into it. But once I saw into the people's eyes when they talk about it on YouTube videos and all, it's like, I can say it's bullshit. I can say they're making it up. Probably they don't even know that they're making it up, because they were used to that making it up. Like, it became like normal talking about it. But the thing is, why dropping knowledge? What does this really mean in this context, in searching your deeper self? What does this really mean is, knowledge is always second hand. You are reading about someone else's experience that is not yours. That you're not even in a way. If you're into meditation, you'll feel that it's not yours. You just don't want to take it. But for you to get to that spot, you might learn from certain kind of masters and stuff. But once you're in the spot, then you don't need it. That's one of the reasons they say dropping the knowledge is extremely important. The more knowledge you have, the more confusion you'll have, because you're feeding the mind to give you more thoughts and more confusion and more things to break open and dissect it, and like, it's just chewing mind. But once you hit your spot inside, once you had this experience of you understood, or you had the taste of who you really are inside, all those things will fall. The interest you have in all those things, it'll just fall. It'll happen so normally, so naturally, that the Akashic records, when people say, it's so funny to me. I went to a person, at a metaphysical, what do you call the? It's kind of like a show where they all get the crystals and all these things, right? So I went down. It's a big thing, and it's like a 2-day show or something. And then there were people who are doing the Akashic records, and I want to see, like, okay, what's let's see what this is about. Once you're awakened to your own self, then you cut through that bullshit. Then he said, he asked me a few things first, like, okay, I said my name and all that. Then they compared my name to the gods. I cannot believe this. I paid for, like, I think I paid $25 for that. Like, he was so pitching for me to buy his book, and I'm like, all right, man. I feel like I already paid 25, which is not even. But I wanted to see how much he knows about it, how much he does know about Akashic records, and what he's talking about. He has no idea. The way they make up shit, put it in their own fucking book and sell it, and the people who are emotionally weaker, and how they tend to go towards them for help, and how they're surviving on it. It's a whole thing going on here. So Akashic records is like, if your DNA strands are open, if your Kundalini is rising and you're going deeper, it takes a lot of time to get there. And even when you get there, you will not have any interest towards it, because that's not what you are seeking. Akashic records can open your past lives. When you can handle this life better, in a way where you're stable, your emotions are stable, your intelligence is working with you, not against you. When all these things are balanced, when that comes to you, you can understand your past lives and the deeds you have done, and how you can use it to change that, to relieve from all the past karmas. So that can happen. Unless then it doesn't even make sense. In order for us to go to that spot, you'll need a lot of practice, a lot of sadhana. And it's not that anyone can come and give you a reading, which is just a reading is just their intuition and their imagination by seeing who you are. There is a certain character you have, and everyone has certain kind of capability to understand the way you dress, the way the way you talk, the way you gave first 5 minutes of talk, or first 5 minutes of communication you had with that person. They are little aware of themselves, and they'll identify and they'll guess it. They'll imagine, they can guess it and put their intuition and their imagination to work, and that'll become psychic. This is just a simple thing. It's a very simple thing. Your imagination plus your intuition is psychicness. So when we go down there and they do that, definitely there will be a match. The way you're moving, the subtleness in your voice, there are so many things we can pick up. So many things we can learn, and that's what they do. But the thing is, when you are in spirituality, when your Kundalini is rising, you don't want to know about your future. You will create your future. You are coming into a place where you want to live moment by moment. There is no future. Future is this moment, the actions we are taking in this moment. When you get down there, you'll understand how fragile life is, how short life is. All these things will happen when your Kundalini is rising. It will happen slowly, slowly. You'll get to this understanding of, all right. So when you can see things clearly, when you can see the bullshit very clearly, and when you can see the people who are bullshitting will walk away from you. When they see you, when they see into your eyes, they'll walk away. It happened to me many times, many times. I cannot even count the number so far. So it's like that. It's like, because you can see their bullshit and they understand it very well. When a person is awakened, I can give you an example for this, and a bigger example. I think Sigmund Freud, I guess, the psychologist or something. When he was offered to go to Ramana Maharshi, who was an enlightened person in India, and he wrote that in his last journal before he died. He wrote those things that he feared going to that person. Why? Because all the bullshit is written in his books. If you go and talk to a person who is realized, they'll strip you open literally. You cannot fake in front of them. It's not going to happen. They'll gently strip you. It's like they're so compassionate that they will not be hard on you, but everything they'll say, they'll show you how fake you are. So when your energy is rising, when your Kundalini is rising, you will have the ability to see that, ability to cut that through, but not hurt anyone. Your awareness is high. The very word, sometimes when people say at the very first word, I can know what they are. The way they uttered it, the way they said it, the calmness they have in their voice, it all depends on how they think, how they're maintaining their body, how their hearts are. It all comes to that. You'll have that intelligence once Kundalini is rising, and it's because it kind of like rises your attention in a certain way, where these are very noticeable. The more time you spend with it, the more easy it will become. And when you walk in, when you just walk in and see into their eyes, they'll just walk away. They don't want to work with you because because they can't bullshit you, seriously. So this is my understanding, my experiences of many years worth of experience with I just went down to people, talked to people, and what's going on. And I myself found out that it took me a while to understand these things, but I'm very like grateful for this, because not to misuse the awareness or the attention I have. This is for me, for my own protection. When you're intelligent enough to see all these things, you generally walk away, and that cannot touch you, because you know how to deal with it. Then moving away from it, even though if it's negative, positive, doesn't matter. You'll know how to deal with that situation very easily, and in a very balanced and an equanimous way. So thank you for listening to me. This is all I want to share in this in this video. So I want to make a couple more comparing this Kundalini awakening, how it's helping me, how it can be stressful, how it can be helpful, and all this. I want to cover couple more videos. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best, and much love to you, brothers and sisters.